Have you ever opened your laptop to do one important thing and then somehow ended up reorganizing your desktop folders instead? Or maybe you started 5 projects, but finished none of them. If this pattern feels painfully familiar, your brain might not be lazy at all. Because sometimes the problem isn't effort. Sometimes the problem is starting. People often imagine productivity like a straight road. You pick a destination. You drive there. Done. But for many people with ADHD, the road feels more like a carnival parking lot. Every thought honks at the same volume. Laundry, emails, that random idea for a business. Meanwhile, the actual important task sits quietly in the corner, and quiet things are easy to ignore. This is why starting can feel weirdly painful. Not physically painful, more like your brain slamming the brakes, even for things you actually want to do. That part confuses people the most, because motivation isn't the problem. The connection between intention and action is. It's like turning your car key and hearing the engine cough, but never fully start. So what's actually happening here? Let's talk about the brain's activation system. Think of it like your brain's start button. For some people, that button responds pretty consistently. Task appears. Brain says, okay. Action begins. But ADHD brains often work differently. The button can feel sticky, or delayed, or completely disconnected. This doesn't mean the person doesn't care. Usually they care deeply, sometimes too deeply, because the bigger the pressure feels, the harder the start button becomes to press. That's why tiny tasks can suddenly feel enormous. Replying to one message, folding one basket of clothes, opening one document. Your brain isn't measuring task size, it's measuring activation energy. And activation energy changes constantly. That's why some days you can hyper-focus for 6 hours, and other days brushing your teeth feels impossible. The inconsistency is part of the experience. And honestly, that inconsistency can create a lot of shame, because people assume consistency equals character. But brains are not machines. They're ecosystems. Sleep affects them, stress affects them, novelty affects them, even emotional safety affects them. So, what actually helps? First, make the starting point smaller, way smaller than feels necessary. Don't tell yourself to clean the kitchen. Tell yourself to wash one fork. Don't tell yourself to write the report. Tell yourself to open the file. ADHD brains often resist magnitude, but they respond better to momentum. Second, externalize the task, because holding tasks in your head uses energy. Write the next step somewhere visible, not the whole project, just the next physical action. Brains like clarity, especially overwhelmed brains. Third, stop waiting to feel ready, because readiness is unreliable. Action often creates motivation, not the other way around. This is why body doubling helps some people, or timers, or background music. These tools aren't cheating, they're scaffolding. And everybody uses scaffolding somewhere. The goal isn't becoming a productivity robot. The goal is understanding how your brain works, because self-awareness changes the conversation. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this?" you start asking, "What conditions help me start?" That question creates options, and options create hope. If this video felt uncomfortably relatable, you're definitely not alone. These are common experiences for people with ADHD, and understanding them can make life feel less confusing. If you want practical tools for focus, overwhelm, and mental clarity, download my free ADHD Clarity Starter Kit. And if this video helped you feel seen, Clans, consider subscribing to Orvella Studio, because understanding your brain should never feel like decoding a mystery alone.